Welcome to Jay's Talk, enriching minds and thus enriching the world.
Hi there. Welcome to Jay's Talk. Today I'm going to discuss with you vertical and horizontal studies. Perhaps you might have heard about these two concepts, horizontal studies and vertical studies. There had been a time people concentrated only on vertical studies. Those who studied history, they concentrated only on historical things. Those who studied political science, they concentrated only on political aspects. Those who studied business studies, they concentrated only on business related aspects. These type of studies are called vertical studies. Gone are those days. Right away, people should be having a kind of horizontal study, or else in a way you can say comparative study. One subject is very much related to another subject. Unless you have to have a thorough horizontal study, you cannot be successful in the modern world. One example I shall bring forward right in front of you. If you want to be a successful doctor in your life, you have to have an excellent horizontal study. Suppose a doctor studies only biology or human anatomy, he cannot be a successful doctor at all. He has to have an excellent knowledge of chemistry, because all the medicines are the contributions of chemists. Those who studied chemistry, B Farm, M Farm, they too manufacture, they too make, they too invent medicines. But still, being a doctor, he has to have an excellent understanding of chemistry, how these chemicals would be acting and reacting in human body. He has to know. He must have a thorough knowledge of chemistry. Only then can he understand how the medicines would be acting and reacting in a human body. Likewise, a doctor has to have an excellent knowledge of physics. He must be a physicist. Why? Because all the medical equipment are the contribution of physics. Take any scanning machines, any of the machineries that are being used in a hospital is not the contribution of a doctor. It's purely the contribution of a physicist. So he has to know how physics works, how a machinery works in a hospital. What is the physics behind that particular machine? When scanning is done, how it would affect the patient. He has to have an excellent knowledge of physics. Thirdly, he has to know human anatomy very well. He has to know biology very well. Only then he can diagnose, he can understand the disease of a patient. Similarly, he must be a psychologist. He must be a psychiatrist. He must know the psychology of a patient. Indian Medical Association would say that more than 70% of the diseases that are found in India are psychosomatic diseases. Most of the diseases in India that are found are in a way directly connected to the psychology, psychological diseases. They are called psychosomatic diseases. Unless and otherwise, a doctor knows the human psychology of a patient or a human being, he cannot prescribe the medicine, he cannot diagnose the problem or the issues associated with a patient. He must know similarly anthropology very well, the evolution of human being. Each time, each era, how human beings undergone the changes. Accordingly, he has to understand the human body. Lastly, he must know biochemical composition of a patient. He must know biology very well. He must know chemistry very well. Only then can he understand the biochemical composition of a patient. Unless and otherwise he knows the biochemical composition of a patient, he cannot prescribe and build the proper medicine for a patient. Similarly, take any profession, any branch of study. That branch of study directly or indirectly connected with other branch of study. So vertical study wouldn't be possible for a pupil to be successful in his or her life. Another example is business. If you want to be a successful businessman, if you want to be a successful industrialist, you have to know accountancy very well. Unless you know accountancy or the account or the transaction, business transaction of a business, he cannot be or she cannot be successful at all. He or she has to know business studies very well, how business is being done. He or she has to know the human psychology. She or he has to know how the human brain works, the trends of the time, how a human being thinks. Only then, according to the trend, according to the thought process, according to the demeanor, according to the way a human being would think, according to the time, he or she can be in a position to be introducing or manufacturing things for the requirement, for the need of the people. Also, the businessman must know history very well. History of politics. The past he has to know. The past is the foundation of a businessman. He has to have an excellent knowledge of history. Only then, at present, he can build his business. Also, he must be an excellent politician. Doesn't mean that he has to get into politics, but he has to know each and every moment of the politics. A good businessman always would know who would be coming to power after 5 years better than a real politician. Because that concerned political party's ideology, the principles, the set of principles and everything would be quite different. Based on their ideology of a particular political party, they would be coining, they would be making business rules, etc. Only if a businessman knows the politics very well, accordingly, he can build his business. So he has to know politics very well. So if you want to be a good businessman, you have to study human psychology, you have to study anthropology, you have to study business studies, you have to know accountancy, you must know history, you must know political science. Only then you can be a successful industrialist. So in the modern world, if you want to be successful in a particular area, vertical study, studying a particular subject alone wouldn't help you at all. In lieu of that, or instead of that, a comparative study, a horizontal study, one subject, the horizontal subject is connected with so many other subjects. The other areas also you have to concentrate on. Only then you can be successful the time to come, especially in the modern world, especially in 21st and ensuing 22nd century. Have a great day. Thank you very much for your patience listening to me.